Okay, hello students. Here I'm continuing with the 5.1 and exercise. So this whole video I'm gonna walk through problems from 5.1, that is using linear equations, that is y equals mx. The goal is this one, right? Plus b. And remember, these are linear. Linear basically means the degree is 1, the exponent of x is 1 here. This B is basically the y-intercept where it crosses anywhere here B, maybe something like this. So that will be like 0B. And this is M is the slope, which is rise over run. So we have seen this already. So let's apply it here. Now among this, which one is the linear? So the question is, if it is linear model, what is state the slope? So the first one is can be written as minus 1 times x plus 10, where you can clearly see that the m that you see here is here. So the slope here is m is minus 1, and the y-intercept, this b, which you see, this b is that plus 10. So the b is the y-intercept is plus 10. Now why is this a linear model? Is because there's an x there. X has an exponent 1, and that's why. Now in the second one, we will see in the next week, maybe we'll be doing exponential function. So what is exponential function? Exponential function basically means when you have expression, that means the output is some number raised to. So it is always a number raised to the power a variable. So the variable has to be in the exponents. In other words, in this example, you have 2 raised to x, and clearly the x is the exponent here. And that's why this expression, that is y output, is 2 raised to x. Whatever the input is is placed in 2 raised to. So such kind of is called exponential function, and you will see uh, the graph of those type of equation will be like how the money is growing in the bank. Let's say if you deposit some money in the bank, and if you deposit maybe $5,000 with some interest, let's see, annual interest of maybe 4%, compounded monthly, and this kind of thing. And we see the graph will be something like this. So this type of graph will be exponential function. That's the second one. Now the next one is this piece is again, this one has x raised to 1 minus 1, and clearly the number, the coefficient of x here. Coefficient of x means the number that times the leading here. Here in this case, the x, the degree is 1, so this is linear. So this is a linear model, and the slope is the m here. Slope, the rate of change here is x minus 1, and this is the y-intercept. Sorry. So in this case, the slope is 4 over 9. It means for every, this 9 basically means for, okay, this is the y-intercept. So the b is minus 1. If you really want to graph, you can also graph this like this. Starts at minus 1 here, see? That's minus 1. And for every 9 run, so that means there is a 9 run. This is run, go to the right, and this you go up, 4 up. You go, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 run, and you go 4 up, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Maybe this one is 3, 2, and 1. You see? So you get a point and you get a line here. So this would be your line, like you see. So that's the understanding. Now, what does this basically means? You see the exponent that you see of the number that raised to x, exponent, is 3. So 3 is the exponent there. So this 3 is not 1. If it was 1, you would say linear model. So this kind of shape 4x cube. This is also a polynomial. Remember, polynomial means it's the sum of monomials. So each the monomial with the highest exponent here the degree is 3. What does it basically means? Means the graph looks like an N shape. So it may go this way, and it may go downwards, and then goes up like this. If you want, I can also show you with the help of you have your calculators in your hands. So if this is the calculator. Where is the calculator? Here. And I can just click on this y first and then type in some x cube, maybe x to the power 3 here. Sorry, so it is, sorry, x raised to the power. That means you click on this up here and then put 3 there and minus 5. It's minus 4. I don't know what was this. And we can click on the window for standard one, sorry, the zoom. You see here, you can keep the 6 is the standard. So I'll click that, or you can scroll down here. I think that's better, and then enter. Okay, you can see this is the graph. Uh, Now you may see it doesn't look like a N shape, but then if I try to change this to, let's see, if I want to put this one and I put x minus 2, let's see, x. Something different. Let's say x. I'll put this x, go up, put 3, and right click and put minus 2x, maybe something different. 2x. I think I see. So I go up. Sorry. So here you go up, put a 3, and then right click and put plus 2x, anything to maybe x here. Okay. And minus 1. I'm just making my own kind of a cubic function, it is called. You have the highest. And let's graph and see how the graph. Okay, so still it doesn't look like, but there are, what I'm trying to say is for the cubic, because there's no time, it will be some kind, the maximum, it takes 2 turns like this. These are the 2 turns. If it is x square like this, suppose there was a quadratic, this is quadratic when you have a variable exponent is plus 3 with the degree is 2, and such cases, let me write it. If we have y equal, let's say, x squared minus 5x and plus 2, so the highest degree here is 2, so that's the degree. So the definition of a degree of a polynomial is when you have the highest exponent is the degree. This is called a polynomial, and it has a special name in this case. It is called quadratic function. Quadratic function. Okay, so that's quadratic. It is like a parabolic shape. So if you have x-axis, y-axis, you can the parabolic shape can touch this way, or it can go twice like this. See? So, but there's one turn it off. A lot of this stuff is there. When we required, I'm gonna teach this. Let's go to the next question. So next question, even though we did this, I will walk through one more time because I've seen it in the class. Some of you did get confused. So the goal is different strategies can be used. Find the equation of a line through this. So the first thing I'll do the regular how universally this is done. This is x1, y1, and this is x2, y2, right? So first step is step one. Step one is to find the slope. And what is the slope here? Denoted by m. It is y2 minus y1, okay, over x2 minus x1. So there is this. This is the format. The minus sign is by default. So remember, this minus is by. So be careful there. And then you subtract maybe this y2, this green y2 and y1, and you can clearly see the y2 is 5. Okay, that's this one, and the y1 is uh, the one, this one, right? So this is what I did. The next one I'm going to use maybe I'm going to use blue color to show. Okay, the next one is the x2. See, x2 is this bit, which is 3, and x1 is this 2. Okay, and when you do this, you get 4 over 1, which is 4. And you can see that's the slope. So this is the slope. What you do next step is the formula is the step 2 is so y is mx plus b, right? Now that you already know this goes right here. Y is 4x uh, plus b. So our next goal is to figure out how do we find b. So the question mark, right? To find the b, you use one of these points. So you have 2 points here. I'm going to use the easy one, and the easy one will be 2 and 1. So in place of x, you put 2. In place of y, you put 1. So this one will go here. So 1 equals, okay, 4 times x, and the x is 2. So x is 2. This will go, so 4 times 2. I'm using the black color to show that I'm plugging in the point, right? And plus b. So do little maths here. You get 1 equals 4 plus 8 plus b. And if you subtract 8, both sides, you end up getting b equals minus. This is, you already know. So your final answer is, so the final answer is, this is the one. So this was the initially we did. Somehow we had to figure out what is m and what is b. These are the two. And you end up getting both of them. So now this equation will be y. You already know the slope over y, and you get this also, yes, which is minus 7, right? This is minus 7, right? And that's the equation. And you can put in this equation 4x minus 1. Uh, I'm going to try to show everything so that you get it. So if I want to really graph this, remember the equation was 4x minus 7. It means 4 over 1. That means the slope is this, right? This is where you begin on the y-intercept, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the point y-intercept. We always write the coordinates. It is at minus 7, and this is minus 7 also. So you start here. And what does this slope here is? 4 over 1. You go 1 right, so you move 1 to the right, and you go 4 up. So that means I have to start here, go 1 to the right, and then 4 up. So it go 1, 2, 3, and 4. See, you can go one more time, 1 to the right, and you can go 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is how you get, and you can graph the line. If you want to see this even in the this, we'll change this. I'm going to delete this or clear this, and then let's put that as 4x. So 4x is 4 and x and minus 7. So I put minus 7. And now let's graph. You can see that directly you get a line. And you want to know, uh, now in this case, if you want to know that y-intercept, what is that y? You can do second, this, and you can find the value, see, and enter, and you can put x equals 0 to really see whether you get the minus 7 there. You can see minus 7. So that's where it is. And if you really want to know also where does the line cross the x-axis, there is another way to do. Again, click second, and you can find the zero. It's also called zero. So what is the meaning of zero is where the line crosses the. Uh, so now let me show what I'm talking about. Left bound, that is left and the right bound. So you go, you can see the cursor moving. So, and it crosses this x-axis. So if I go down, that's called left bound. And once you cross this, that's called right bound. So I'll click on the left bound and then just enter. And then it asks you, uh, click the right bound. You can see there's the vertical dotted line that you see, and click and then move this one. So I move to the right side. That means above the x-axis and enter. See? So now the question is the guess. Let me now, you have to do enter one more time and see if you get the answer. That's the 0 means the x-intercept. So, so you see this point here, What does 0 basically means? If you really want to understand the concept of what is 0, the equation was y equals 4x minus 7, right? So we want to know when is this going to be 0, or when is the output y is going to be 0. So this point is we want to know for when is this going to be the y is 0 and what should be this x. That's why we say we solve this. So 4x minus 7 equals 0, and you add 7 both sides. Okay, you get 4x equals 7, and if you divide by 4, and that's how you get. Remember, we already got it. If you do this, it is 1.75, which you really have. So this is called a 0. And the reason is if you plug this in here, if this value is plugged in over here, it means if I plug in 4 times uh, 1.75 minus 7. So this whole thing is 7. 7 minus 7 is 0. So you get 0, and that's why they use the word 0, 0 of the 0 of the equation. What is the 0 of the equation? It is 1.75. And if you want to write the x-intercept, even though it is called 0, if you can write 1.75 comma 0. So when you write like this is the x-intercept. Hope this helps. As and when you I'm walking to this problem. I hope it will help. Okay, let's do another. Question number 3. This time you have 1, 3, and 5 too. So again, let's call this as x1. This is x1. This is x2. And the other one, I'm going to use the red color. This is y1 and this is y2. Okay, the slope is y2. The red one is difference in the y's, and the denominator is difference in the x. See, this is very, very important. And then find out this, plug it in, the numbers, and the numbers are the red ones. Which are the red ones? So you have put 2 here, so that's 2. And this will go here, that is 3. And the bottom will be the 5 here and the 1 here, okay, which is 1 here. So that will give you minus 1 over 4. So that's the slope, see? Now, once you get this, so the equation, so this is the step number 1. Step number 2 is you write the equation and, so this is the equation slope-intercept form. And then this is what goes right here. So that is negative 1/4 of x. And now our next goal is, third step is b is question mark. To find this b equals, what do? You plug in any one of these points. So let's plug in, I just write plug in the first one, 1 and 3, in place of x and y in this equation. See, so the y goes right here. Y is, which is the 3, 3 is, and the x is x. This red x is 1. This is 1. See, so this is 1, and plus b, plus b. And then this is, of course, you can do your own different ways. I'm gonna write this as minus 1/4 and plus b. So you can multiply 4 throughout. Okay, so if that's fine, it's easy for you. Just multiply. There's a fraction with the 4, so multiply 4, 4 and a 4. So all the terms are multiplied by 4. So from this step, you get 12 equals to 12. This 4 and this 4 crosses out. You're left with minus 1 and plus b4 is same as 4 times b, right? Adding 1, you get 13, and this one and this one crosses out, you get 4b, and then divide by 4, You get b equals this 4 crosses out, you get 13 by 4. So the equation becomes, this is important, that's what you're going to plug in here. Oh God, somehow by mistake I clicked cancel. So it was, let me write minus 1/4 of x. And the b that we got was, you can get check 13 by 4, and you're done. So this is the slope intercept form. Now some of you may say, remember last time, this equation is called slope intercept form. Okay. There is another equation called 2-point form. 2-point form. Now what is 2-point form? Is you write y minus y1 is the slope x minus x1. So this is another equation uh, which is called point slope form. Put this like so. We can. The question is where did this come from? I'm going to x-axis this way, the grid, and place those 2 points. Uh, let me, suppose this is the line, and this was the point. Let's call this point is x1, y1, and then another point is let's call this as a. This is b. This is x2, y2. And another point is a variable point which can move around. So this I will call x and y, okay, let's call it as c. Now I want to find slope from A to using the green color. From A, what is the slope of this line? I can do two ways. One is this rise over run. See, so this piece that you see here, the change in the y, that means y minus y1. So the slope is the difference is y minus y1, and then x minus x. This is one slope, okay? We can also find slope another way using BC. So BC. So BC will be this time I'm gonna write this run and ride. See? So this slope also is this time I'm gonna use uh, y minus. Instead of this, I think let's take the other one because my goal was not this one. We'll try to use AB. So A to B, this one, see? So the run and ride. So that means the slope here is difference in the y or the change in the y, this one, right? So this is y2. So y2 minus this y1. And then the run. The run is x2 minus this x1. And we already know that this we write regularly the slope formula. See, this slope formula. So this m that we get, this and this is the same thing. So what I'm going to do is now, so let's write this. So this piece, so this one I'm going to write here, which is m. So this m equals, this also is slope y minus y1 over x minus x. And then after that, you multiply both side by I want to get away with the fraction, so multiply by x minus x1 on the right and also on the left. And then this crosses out. So what are you left with? So what are you left with? This I can rearrange and write m times x1 is y minus y1. So some of you may be interested to know where the heck this formula come from. So that's why I'm writing that. So basically it is y minus y1 equals mn x minus x1. So all you need to use this formula. See? So this is the point I picked. That's what you see over here, x1, y1. And then step one, you have to find the slope. And step two, you just plug in the first one here. So that's why it looks easy. So let's see if I want to write this as x1, y1, and I want to use the point slope formula like this. So let's plug it in this 1 and 3. So so y minus equals, let me write all this, x minus, I'm keeping the room. So the red one is the, so we are gonna put this over here. So it is y minus 3 because y1 is 3 here. And the slope actually is the slope that we have seen was minus 1, 4, minus 1, 4. So this will be minus 1, 4, x minus x1. The x1 is 1 here. See? So this is that 1 and 3, which is x and y, right? Which is that x1 and y1. So x1 is 1. Now this part is already done, but we need to change it to the slope intercept. You can't keep this equation because we need to write in the form of slope intercept form, so that if you want to graph, then we need that how to graph the line. That's why also if you want to put on the calculator also, you have to put in the y editor to write the equation. What happened here? Oh God. Oh, okay. So what you do next is, what I would do is, uh, use so this will be better. If I write y minus 3, so use the distributive property, that is minus 1 for that. And then when you multiply this two, this my negative and negative become positive 1 4. And then you add 3 both sides. So because you want to isolate this, right? You don't want this 3. So add 3. So I'll add 3 right here. So that way this crosses out. And we need to add this fraction. So that means I need to have, there's a 4 there. So there is a 4. So multiply and divide by 4. So your answer will be minus 1 for the x. And this together, there is a 4 at the bottom. See this 4? So that this will be 4. And 3 times 4 is 12. And 12 plus 1 gives you 13. So this is how you have to figure out. And I hope I'm making sense. So some of you will say, why can't you do another way? Why can't do, remember, suppose I have the same equation, minus 1 fourth x like this, and x minus 1. Some use another strategy. What they do is there's a fraction. You want to get away with this 4, which is here. So kind of multiply for this side and multiply for the right side. So this 4 and this 4 crosses out. Use distributive property right here. So you get 4y minus 12 equals, and there's a minus, you have a negative outside the parenthesis, or negative 1. So that's get multiplied to negative x, 1x, and negative negative positive 1. And then add 12. So this is so different ways to do. And your 4y is minus 1x plus 13, and then divide for everywhere by division property of equality. This will crosses out and you get minus 1 fourth x plus 13. So even I take a little longer time, I hope I'm making sense to you. And that's it. So let's move to the next. So question number 4. Well, same thing, you have given 2 points, is x1, y1. And the question is the most, if you see the second point, the first number is 0, right? So whenever the first number is 0, what does it mean? This itself is by default become the y-intercept. You don't have to do too much of work there. All you do is first find the slope. So this is the b. So step one is we'll find the slope y2 minus y1, no, x2 minus x1, or difference in the, so this is x2 y2. So this is difference in y. How much did -2 go all the way to, how much increase is from minus to 5? That's what that means. So it is 5 minus of -2. Common sense you can see from on the number line. If I do 0 here and 1, 2, this is -2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can clearly see how far is, so from here to here, how much is the increase, and it is 7, see? So that's what that 2 negative will give you positive, and you will be getting 7 on top. The bottom piece is how much is the increase from -3 to 0. So if this is -3 here till 0, that means from here to here. In other words, when you apply the formula, the x2 is this one. So it is 0 minus of, 0 minus of -3. So these two negatives change to positive, and you get answer as 7 over 3. And that's the slope. And then you can directly write now, the equation is y is mx plus b. You already know the slope. This is the slope. Just plug in here. So you get y equals 7 by 3 x. And the b is, remember the b is this part, 5. And you're done. That's it. If you want to graph, you can also, of course, we'll do, there are more problems so that we can, graphing part is there, but because of the time, I'm just, so in other words, just that starts at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why. And there's +7 and +3. And you 3 run, you go 7 up. But because of the green, if you go to the right, 2 and 3, and I don't have room to go up, right? So instead, you can write -7 and -3. Basically, you go to the left instead of, you go 3 to the left, and then you go 7 down. So these are already 5 here, and you go another 2 more here. So somewhere here you get a point and line length. Let's go to next problem. Okay, question. So the question number 5. So I have to do. So question number 5 says graph the linear model. It does not tell you whether to pick points. If it doesn't say, if they had to ask us take some points, then we could use, some points like this. And you can say this is 5 over 1. There's no fraction. So you can make a table out of this and say, okay, let's take few point, maybe -2 or 0 and 2 or 4 like this. You can, or 3. So you can plug in each time this numbers and get the answer. Like if I plug in -2 here, so that will be 5 times -2 and -4. So -10 and -4, which is minus 14. See? So at -2, it is -14. If I plug in 0 here, and you'll see y equals 5 times 0 minus 4, and that will be -4. If I plug in 2 here, so that will be 5 times 2 minus 4, which is 10 minus 4, which is y is 3. So the point that you get here is, so there are 3 points only I took. So here you go, when x was -2, oh, here it is. This is that first point, -2 and -14. This one is 0 is -4. And this one we got 3 here. So that's 3. So 2 comma 3, and then you can use the grid like this and start with this. Now negative 14 is too. I'm gonna skip this because the grid doesn't have negative 14. Sometimes they don't show this. So we'll skip that and use the second one is 0 minus 4. So that's the first point. And another point you can think is 2 is 3. So if it is 2, this is 2 and 3 will be here, somewhere here. So this is 2 and 3. And that's it. And then you can just graph this. So this way. This is manually doing the work. But suppose you want to do without directly, you are already given the grid and just use the y-intercept. So you start with this b, which is the y-intercept. Okay, that's where it starts. And the slope here is the 5, because this is the slope, which is 5. So I can write it as 5 over 1. It means you run one right because of positive, you go 5 up. If I start here like this, 1 run, and then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like so you get a 4. You can run one more. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you get a line. So different approach to do this. So this is using the y-intercept and then figure out another point by using the slope run and 5 up. So this is one run. If you want to put this in the calculator, one more time I'll try to show, go back here. So this is the calculator. Mm, So click on y equals, and it was, what was the equation? 5x minus 5. So click 5, then click this x minus, I think plus 5, minus 4, sorry. So it will be minus 4. So I'm going to go back, delete, and put a 4 there. Okay. So, and then we can graph. And so clearly that's the line. Okay, so simple. So few things to be noted is also there's a trace here. Look at this trace. And if you right click, it gives you how when x increases, the y also increases. See, you can see that cursor. It goes up, up, up. That's the understanding. And the y-intercept, of course, I showed you. You can do second calc, and you can find the value. Enter. So enter. And then put a 0 and you get that answer. And then enter to get negative 4. So this is how you can figure out, use the calculator. Okay. Uh, Another features is you can make a table out of this. So you can click second and you can see the table. All this, you get x and y for 0, 1, 3, 0, 1. You can go back also, minus 1. It gives you all that input output like this. That's, I hope I'm making sense. And there is also something called stat plots. If you click here, not that one. Let me go back to the graph and table set. If you click here and here, the TBL SET. You can start with, maybe you want to start with just a 3. So you can do that also. And then independent, starting 3, and independent auto, you can keep, no, you can ask, you just put, and or this one will be auto and enter. Okay, see. And then you'll see the table, second table, and you can see it starts with the 3 here. Can you see this 3 here? And then and you can see it starts with 3. I think I messed up there. Anyway, I think I forgot to enter. As and when required, right now I don't want to do. that let me finish the whole exercise. Come back this later on. Mm, okay, so this piece. So question 6 here. This is same as -1 x plus 5. So the slope is this, which is m is the slope -1 over 1. That means you go 1 right, and because of this -1, you go 1 down. And you start with this. This is the y-intercept. V, okay, y-intercept. So when you make a grid, so you begin with plus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is where it starts 5. And you go 1 right. So I'm going to, from here, I go 1 right. This is that 1. And then you go 1 down. Like this. You go 1 down like this. Again, you go 1 right, 1 down, 1 right, 1 down. And you get this point like this. And then you draw the line. I hope I'm making sense. So if you wanted to graph this piece, it starts at -1. That's where the it starts. So this is the starting piece. And the slope is 2/3. It means you go 3 right and 2 up. So that means you go 1, 2, and 3. So you go 1, 3 run, and you go 2 up. See, like this. Again, you can go 3 run, and you go 2 up like this. Okay, I hope making sense. And then you get a line. So I hope I'm making sense. Let's go to the next. So question number 8 is similar to the one that we did yesterday. So let me say the population of beetles is assumed to be growing according to the linear model. This y is mx plus b. The initial population was 30 beetles, and after 8 weeks, so after 8 weeks, the population is 62. You have to first step is know what is do we have these two piece? Did they give us 2 points here, x1, y1? And we need to know 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, right? So one thing is the initial population is was 30 beetles. It means when it is 0 in the beginning, the the 30 is the beetles. So what is the meaning of x and y here? So we can say let's define x is uh, number of weeks from the time the population of from the beginning. Actually, number of weeks from the beginning. I'll put it. This is how you can write. X stands for. Or instead of x, we could also use w. I'll just see that sometimes we can use w. So number of weeks from the beginning, and what is y stands for? And the population after x number of weeks. So you could also use, instead of x and y, you could use w stands for the independent variable, which is the week, and y you could use also the population p. See, like this. This also is correct. Now I'm going to use, since we are used to x1, y1, x2, y2, I'll use this. So the second information that is given is after 8 weeks. This after 8 weeks, the population is 62. Means the second point is 8. If this is 8, and it is 62. See? So the question is, how much did you grow? This is a difference in the axis and difference in the y. The first thing is, what is the linear model to represent the amount of beetles after t number? Oh, they want us to use t weeks and not w. So we could change this instead of w. They want you to use t number of weeks. So T stands for number of weeks. But it does not tell us the population. So P will use the population. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, you have these two pieces. Okay, let's figure out what is the rate of change. So the main thing is the slope. What is the slope rate of change? Now, what is the rate of change? Basically means for every one increase in the week, so every week, how much, uh, how much is the change in the increase in the population of beetles. So the rise over run, right? So the formula is y2 minus y1 over. I think by now you already know common sense how much is increase in the x's and the y's. So the bottom piece is I'll do first. It is 0 to 8, but while writing we write 8 minus 0. And the next one is this one. From 30 it goes to 62. So you have to write 62 minus 30 because you want to know how much is the increase in there, right? So this will be equal 32 divided by 8, and if you use 8 divides 32 4 times. So this means it is population is, so number of beetles increases 4 beetles per 1 week. So this is the understanding of this. So each week the beetles population is growing by 4. So the M is 4 here. So the M is 4. So the rate of change is. So the next question, now we have to write the equation, right? Now to write the equation, the good news is this is 0, right? When you have the first x coordinate is 0, by default, the second point becomes, this becomes the B part. So in the formula that you see here, that itself is the y intercept. You don't have to do too much of calculation here. So let's write down. I'm using x and y instead of t. Let me use uh, x and y, x and y. So and then we will change it to the other variables. So when you want to write this answer, right? So now the equation is, so the first step I define the variables. Then I then I did the 2 points. Then I found the slope, and there you go. And the next is the equation. So equation is y equals mx plus b. So y is, so this 4 goes right here, 4x, and the b is this one, which goes here, which is 30, right? So this is the prediction equation. So this helps us to guess or to figure out how much will be the population after certain number of, maybe 10. They want us 10 weeks, right? So in this problem, I'm going to put this instead of x, they want us to write t, right? T means number of weeks. And instead of, because the population starts with P, instead of Y, I'm going to use P here. See? So this whole equation can be changed to P equals 4T, 4 times T plus 30. So this also is correct. So I don't want you to get confused, but remember Y is P and X is T. The question second is, how many beetles will we expect after 10 weeks? So in this case, question number B says, when T is 10 weeks, what is P? What is P? Question mark. So all you do is this 10, you put it right here. So your population is 4 times 10 plus 30. And if you do little calculation, this is 40 plus 30 will be 70. And the last question they're asking us is, the last question is the C part. In what week would we expect to see the population? So they gave us here the C part is what week means the independent, the input we don't know, so that's a question mark. But they give you the population for that number of weeks. The population is given 150. Sometimes this also used is called function notation. I want you to get, we put parentheses and put a t. It means the population depends on t, and this is at 150. So another way to, we get confused, we'll see in the class. So that's like instead of p, but p depend on the how many weeks has passed. That's why we see You say P when T weeks have passed by. So that's the understanding of this. It's called also function notation. Okay. So now let's see. So the equation is right here. So let me write this equation back again. P is 40 plus 30. So all you do is plug in this 150 will go right here, 150 and equals 4 times t plus 30, and you have to solve for t. So what is the meaning of solve for t? Means you subtract 30 this side, and when you subtract 30, this crosses out. This will be 120, 40, and then divide by 4, you get 30. That means after 30 weeks. So what does this basically means? After 30 weeks, the population of the beetle will be 150. So I hope uh, this is, and you may want to put this equation y equals this whole thing. You want to put it when I'm putting, you have to put 4x plus 30, like in this one. If I click here and put 4x plus 30, 4x and plus 30, you can see. Now, and then if you graph this, you won't see the line. You won't see the y-intercept. So we have to do some changes in the window. You can see. So go to the window, and we'll have to change the y. If you see this, the maximum y maximum is 10. So that will try to make it like maybe 100. I'll just make it 100. Or maybe 120 should be, because we also know 150 there. So I can make it 150 also, or 160. And if I want to do, there's something called scale, multiple of, how much increase. It's better to do 10. And if I go back here, x is uh, number of weeks. This one, we don't want too much of negative. So I'm going to take off this piece. We don't want delete, just -1. But this one, we got the answer was how many weeks we got? Well, let's put it like 50 maybe. So some changes has to be done, and I'll increase by 5 and see what's going on. So as in when you really you want to see the whole graph, that's why it's like, and then click here. You can see this now, beautiful graph. So these are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is how it is. If you want to see the y-intercept, click second calc, and you can see there is a value there. Enter and put a 0. You can see and enter again. You get 30. See, so that's how it was. Starting was 30, and I hope. And then we got the answer. What was the answer that we got? Was 36, right? 150. So now, if I want to do 30 and see what happens, value, you put 30 and enter, and you really get 150. See how beautiful this is? I hope I make sense. So let's move on to the next question. So question number 9 is very similar to the question 1 problem I solved in the example. So this is a population of a town. So in the year 2010, this was the population. It means this is like X1 and this is like Y1, the first information. See, when you write X1 and Y1, so this point is when in the year 2010, the answer is 120,000. So that's the first information. And then the second one is in the year 2020, that means X2, the second point is uh, in the year 2020, the population was 180,000. Okay. Now, if you work on this, if you we can make this problem more easier because they gave us this 210 and 2010. So we can always change this and say, okay, let's call this is the beginning. So when I say beginning, it means that's the time, that's the first time they check the population. So the x1, y1 we can change to zero. So you can say zero basically means in the year 2010, and this is 120,000. So that makes it very easy. And the second one, this x2, y2. So the question is from 2010, from 2010 until to 2000, how many years has passed by? You can see. So this is 10 and this is 20. So that means 10 years have passed. So 20 minus 10 is 10 years. So instead of this 2020, we will change it to 10 years. That means after 10 years, the population was, so the population it will be 180,000. Now it will become easy. So we now that we have x2, y2, another way to show this, I like to show with the table also. Makes it more easier also. Look at this. So this is like your is x stands for, let me say. So this is called 2010. In the year 2010, that's called 0 year. So we call it, this is a 0 year. That's when the census was done, and the Y stands for the population. Okay. And this one was 120,000, so it was 120,000. Okay. And then you go one to one. So this is like 2000. This is 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, and 2010. Oh, sorry. 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, whatever that is. The main thing I'm trying to say in 2020, that means 10 years have passed by. So I put 10 here and it became 180,000. So that way it becomes easier to understand it. So this is like this piece is your x1 and this is your y1, this is x2 and this is y2. So either you do, if you understand, that's good, but you can make a table out of this also. So my goal is first to know the linear model, we have to find the slope, rate of change. It's like for each uh, year, every year, how much is the population is growing. So it is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that means y2 minus y1 means here, see this part. So, or you can see this one, see? So it is 180,000 minus 120,000 and divide by x2 minus x1. So this is x2, right? This is x2 is 10, sorry, yeah, 10 minus 0. So when you do this, uh, if you subtract this, you get 60,000, okay, and divide by 10. And one of the zeros, if you get confused, use a calculator. One of the zeros will cross out. You end up getting 6,000. So 6,000 persons. I'll write population basically how many people, right? The number of person per 1 year. One. So each year the population is growing by 6,000. That's all it means. So this is now because they gave you to represent the population to represent for n years. So instead of x, they said, okay, why can't you put n? N, what does n stands for? Number of years since 2010. And the population, still we can think of p. So let me clean this whole thing and write the equation with the help of n, because they gave us n, right? So population p equals, so we can write the actual equation is y equals mx plus b. And now we got y equal m is this one, which is 6,000. So it is 6,000 times x and plus b. B is the beginning. What was the beginning population. The beginning, B-E, beginning, I'm missing my spelling. Okay. So then the beginning was 0 here. See, when it was 0, this is your B. This is the B, 120,000. This is 120. In the beginning, it was 100. So this becomes your equation with the help of X and Y. But because I'm using P for population, which is uh, output, so instead of Y, I'm using P. So and it is 6,000 times, and instead of X, I write use N. N is here, number of years. So N stands for number of years since 2010. So you put 2 plus 120. The second question is, what does it predict in the year 2025? So what it basically means is, in the year 2025 means how many years has passed. Question is, what is N is how much? So N is from 2010, from 2010 to 2025, how many years have passed? You can say 2025. If I subtract 2010, you get 15. See? So it becomes 15. So in the equation, you put P equals 6,000 times 15 plus 120,000. And 15 times 6 is 90. So this becomes 90,000 plus 120,000. And that together will be 210,000. So this is the second answer. That means in the year 2025, the population is this. The last question is asking, based on the model, when will the population is 250? So the equation is this. Let me keep only that. So the question number C says, based on the model, when the population will reach this, that means we want to know, this is given to you. The population is given. So the question is T. So number of years, that is the N. This is what we have to write. N. This is like, remember, this is X and this is like Y, but we use it as N is number of years since 2010, and this is your P. So I'm using N and P. So we need to know P is given. This is the P part. Population is given, which is 250,000. 250,000 equals 6,000 times N. And then what you do is solve for N. So you have to subtract minus 120,000 this side. You also subtract 120,000 this side. And then put a line, cross out this two, and this will become 130,000. And this drop down 6,000. Then solve for N, means divide by 6,000. And this crosses out, you get N equals 2. So if you use the calculator, you'll get 21.67. So what does this mean is, since 2010, somewhere after 21 years, between, so that means 21 years and 22 years, the population will be 250,000. So that means I can take 21 years, because this is in between 21 to 22 years, which is already reaching 250. So we can use this number 21. So N is 21. So N is 21. So this piece is uh, 21 years since 210. The population will be this, but then we need to know how many years, which year is that? So 2020. So 2010 is the beginning year. This was the beginning. That's when we started checked on the population. And then you just add that 21 right here. And if you add this, you get 2031. So in the year 2031, the population will be 250,000. I hope I made sense to you. Let's move to the next question. Another two more and we're done. So question number 10 is student tutors to help pay for college expenses. If they charge a flat rate, now what is the meaning of flat rate fee means? This is this is fixed. So if you see the formula y equals m of x plus b, this is that fixed number, the y-intercept. So this is the y-intercept. So they already gave us b equals flat rate, that is $20. But then after that, in addition to this $20 fixed amount, he gets every hour $15. That means the slope rate of change is the slope, which is $15 per 1 hour. See, so each hour again. So m is 15. That's all it means. So each hour. So the equation becomes y equals 15x plus the the fixed amount, that is $20. So you could also say phi also, right? So instead of y, you can say f like this. See, I can say f equals and 15 instead of x, you could use how many hours h. So you can put this equals h. So, so this way you get used to the letter that I used because this is the dependent variable because how much money fee is going to charge. So this is dependent variable and this is independent variable, okay, which is the input. So this is the input and this is the output. I hope that. So the question was uh, describe. So you have to explain what does this means. So that means this is the flat fee, means this is fixed money he gets like a bonus. But after that, each hour, whatever additional hour that you work or tutor, you get $15 an hour. It's like going for a fair, carnival fair. And when you go for carnival fair, and then this is before you enter, they will charge you $13. That's the that's like a fixed fee to enter. And then there are so many rides all around here, and maybe each ride is $7. So kind of slope here, and this is fixed amount. So you can say, hey, how much will be the total cost of going for some number of rides? Maybe, and it costs $7 per ride, so it is 7 times R is number of ride plus 13. See, so something like that. Okay, this question is question number 11. Is a manufacturer believes there is a linear relationship between the number of widgets, which is represented by n, they can sell, and the price p. So it means this is like independent variable. Just wanted to show you can read this for a minute and try to get. So this is like your x, okay? But instead of x, they want you to use n. It means this is the independent variable. Independent variable. So that means if x means the number of widgets they can sell and the price p. So this becomes the dependent variable. So that means when you write x and y, means if you sell, okay, so now that you know x and y, so instead of x and y, they are giving us n and p, okay? So x stands for n and y stands for p. Now, let's see what did they give us. They have historical data that shows they can sell 7,000 widgets at a price of 10. So what does this information, the red information, tell is if you, so that means your x1, y1. So that's what I'm trying to show. What is x1, y1 is. So x1, comma here, that means if 7,000 widgets are sold, and the price is is 10. So this is the first information, right? I like to use X, Y because at the end we'll put N and P. But right now I'm going to use X and Y. Now I'll use green color to show, not green, maybe blue color to show. And 1,000 widgets at a price of this. So what does this basically means? It's like X2, Y2. It means if you sell 1,000 widgets, then the price is will be $25. So, so this is X2, Y2. Now, what you do next is you are supposed to find the linear model. It means you want to know what is Y is M of X plus B, right? That relates the price and the number of widgets. So it means this is the price, this is the number of widgets, and this is the price. Okay. Ah, so let's see now. Let's do. So first we have to find is the from here rate of change, right? We need to find rate of change. So what is the meaning of rate of change is the slope, and what is the slope is the m, and what is m means y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And you can see, let's plug in. So m equals, I'm gonna use y2. Y2 is right here. See, this is y2, which is 25 minus y1. Y1 is here, which is 10. Then x2 is 1,000 minus x1 is 7,000. So you end up getting m equals minus 15. I'm sorry, 15 divided by 300. Sorry, here I made a 1,000 minus this is minus 6,000. So let me correct this. So that m is, you can reduce this. There's a 15 which divides here. So I know you can use calculator also and directly also get in decimal, but I will divide by 15 up and divide this also by 15 because 15 divides 60. So you get 1, and plus and minus will give you minus. So that's minus. You get 1 over 15 divides 64 times. So you get 400. So this is the rate of change. It means for every uh, 400 decrease because there's a minus, right? So, so another way to describe this basically means this slope is actually the bottom part is the number of widgets sold. So number of widgets sold, and this minus one is the price goes down by one. So the of the price of widget goes down by $1. See this minus one? So this is the understanding of that. But when we write the formula, we can directly say, okay, y equals, we got that minus 1 over 400. And now x is the number of widgets. And plus b is what we need to figure out. What is this b? Now, this is the beginning before finding the b, right? So to find b, what we can do, we'll plug this in. Just made a room for me to, so your y is minus 1 over 400 x plus b. Now let's plug in this point as x and y. So the y is 10, so this becomes 10 equals minus 1 over 400, and the x is 7,000 plus b. We can cross out two zeros here because there are two zeros. So this 2 0 cross out, and you get uh, and you can also divide. Let's try one more step to make it to simplify this. So you get 10 equals 70 over 4 plus b. So we get we get 10 equals. So we get 10 equals minus 70 over 4 plus b. I'm gonna add plus 70 over 4 because you have to solve for b. So adding this side also by 70 over 4. When you do this, this crosses out. This one has a fraction which is 4. So better to multiply here, multiply and divide by 4 and divide by 4. So drop down this b here and 10 times 4 is 40 plus 70 gives you 110. Divide by 4 and divide by 2 here. You get 55 divided by 2 equals b. So your final answer is, so this was the thing, right? So here y, this now reduces to y equals minus 1 over 400 x and now plus 55 by 2. Now, because we are using the n, this is the price maybe. So y we can write it as also like how much is the price, right? So price is minus 1 over is times n. This also is correct. So you may say, why can't we write this fraction into decimal? Yeah, you could do that also. This is another strategy I'm just showing. If 1 over 400, if you see 1/4 is 0.25, and because of these two zeros, it becomes 0.0025. So you could also write like this. Okay? And then you could uh, plug in that when it is $10, when 7,000 widgets were sold with the price of 10. So we can plug this on and write minus 0.0025 times 7,000 plus B. So you could do this way and also do the work also. Just wanted to show you, you could do this. Okay. It's because of the time. It's already 10 o'clock here, I think. No, 9:30. And this video has become long. Now, this is the last question, number 12. An internet provider charges service based on this model, where N stands for number of gigabytes of data used, and C is the monthly charge in dollars. So this is the dependent variable, and N is the independent. It, so the so your cost monthly charge depends on how many gigabytes of data that you use. See, it's such a beautiful. I would also write in addition that this uh, cost monthly charges depend on how much data. So you could write this way also. And instead of this, I could write 0.15 times n plus 10, which looks like y equals mx plus b. So this is the y-intercept, the down payment, or the basic service charges. That's the $10, and then this slope, this piece is the m is for every one gigabyte you're paying dollar 0.15, 15 cents, right? So that's the slope. So the question is asking interpret that slope. So what is the slope? This is the slope for every 1 gigabyte use. The company charges 15 cents, 15 cents or $0.15. So if you want to write, it is 0.15. If you want to write in the cents, then it will be 15 cents. Okay. So that's the understand. And what is the meaning of y-intercept is this piece where the Down, like in the service charge itself is the y-intercept. And that's it. And I hope this helps. So we'll continue in the next video. In the next lesson, it will be 5.2 on exponential function. See you. Thank you. Complete the packet. Get your points.